keep it real with ya.
Like I said in the last video, everything just went so well. Everything just came together. It was like a miracle, you know. I have this delusion in my mind that if there is someone in charge of the universe, they don't like me. And that whole experience really proved me wrong, had me looking crazy. Like I just be over here lying to myself apparently. Um and oh, I meant to say happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, y'all. Um but yeah, everything just went well. Everybody was really nice to me. I felt comfortable. I felt safe. I felt like I could open up. Like I was talking to my movers about like my hobbies and stuff, and they were so nice and like genuinely interested in hearing about me and what I do. And I was like, "What's the catch, universe? What are you trying to do? Where's the shoe? Where is that? It's about to drop. Which shoe is this? You must be getting a big boot." Because I was just like, "There's no way. There's no way that I could have had something happen this positively without something equally negative or more negative happening to me." Sadie's playing with a ball. Oh my god, hold on. Go get it. Um yeah, she's playing ball. Morticia wants to play with the ball too, and Sadie just smacked her in the face. Anyway, so I want to know when the other shoe was gonna drop. I didn't have to wait long. By the time I fixed my mouth to say, when is the other shoe gonna drop? The shoe had already dropped. And the shoe dropping was my best friend breaking up with me. Yeah. So best friend broke up with me. So I'm gonna fill in some gaps. Um I won't go into too much detail. Like I'm not gonna read through messages or play recordings. I'm really not into all of that. I'm not gonna post screenshots. It's not that deep. Because I really feel like the whole thing was stupid anyway. But let me go on to it. Okay. So I have this friend, and I've told you guys about this friend at some point. But it's been about a year. Been about a year that we've been friends. Let's call her Brandi. Me and Brandi been friends about a year. And I, it, up until like a few days ago, if you asked me about Brandy, I would have had nothing but positive things to say. If you asked me about our relationship, I would have been like, "This is the best relationship. I love her." I don't even say that I love people. I don't like that word. I'd be like, "I love her. She's amazing. She supported me through so much. I've supported her through so much. It's great. She doesn't have any flaws." Like, like she's asked me before, like, "Do I have? What do you think my flaws are?" And I was like, "You don't have any flaws. No." Like, cause that's literally how I think about my friends. All I can think about is how great they are and how amazing and how much I want to support them and see them win. So, like, if you asked me a few days ago, I'd have been like, best person ever. You would love her. You would love her. You would love Brandy because she's amazing. And that's all I would have said. So how did that flip so quickly? Well, see, what had happened was basically, I will say hindsight is 2020. But me and Brandy for the last several months, like we got real close, like sharing all types of deep traumas and thoughts and quirks and just the type of stuff that you don't really tell people about. Like that was stuff I didn't even told my previous therapist. Like my current therapist, yes. My previous therapist, no. And I was telling her about it and talking about these childhood traumas and all the stuff that I was worried about and stressing about. Sadie, don't come to me without the ball. The ball is on the other side of the room. You know you're supposed to bring me that ball. I can't throw a ball you didn't give me. Morticia Morticia took the ball and now Sadie mad. She's just sitting here watching her, shaking her leg. But yeah, so Brandon and I, like, we moved really fast in the relationship, like sharing all types of details about our life, about our childhoods, about our families, whoever we had issues with. Like it was just really close. And we was talking every day for hours a day. Now, when I first met her, we were talking for hours a day, but that was a different situation. It evolved to like the weekends, work days. Like she'll be at work, I'll be at work. We be on the phone. Um, to the point where like it was literally like I was talking to her from the moment we both woke up in the morning to the moment that we both went to sleep. Like I would go to the bathroom while still on the phone because she was in another state. So we were just on the phone all the time. Anything that came to our minds, anything we thought about, usually something negative, mental health related, or trauma related was the majority of our conversations at that point. But I'm not gonna say that it was all terrible. Like I said, like if you asked me a few days ago, I would be like, "Oh, she's amazing. She's great." You know, I've done recommendations for her for jobs. She's done recommendations for me for jobs. She's helped me a lot. She's very big confidence boost. That I was not used to getting from other Black women. So it was just very very helpful. And what what had happened was basically like we went from talking every day, all day long, to her going dark for like a week. And I literally, like, you could look at the call records and the records and see where we were just like on the phone, calling each other back to back to back. Morticia, stop trying to get in that room. Morticia keeps trying to get into the laundry closet, I guess, because that's where the hot water heater is, and she likes to get in there. She likes to jam her body into small crevices. Like that's a thing for her. Like she wants to figure out if she can get in there. So she has gotten locked in a couple closets already since I've been here. um, because she just wants to jam herself into small places. But and so I felt some type of way about that. And there have been a few times before where I felt some type of way, but I just didn't say anything. Like I would immediately talk myself out of addressing any issues that I might have because I didn't want to ruin the relationship by, being vulnerable. um, and it's not like she had that problem. Like there would be times when Brandi would tell me like that I upset her by something that I said, and I would immediately like, not necessarily apologize, especially if it was something that I didn't actually say, but it would be more like I made her feel a certain way, and then I needed to reassure her that I don't see her that way and that I love her and I think she's amazing and all of those things. Because for me, it's always about the feelings. It's not really about like what exactly was said. If I did say something, I'd be like, I'm sorry, or I think there was one time when I was like, I want to apologize because I don't think I'm being a good friend by, saying this or saying this way. And she'd be like, oh no, I like it when you talk like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Um, but I'm really self-conscious and I'm really hard on myself and I'm always trying to make sure that I'm the best friend possible to all of my friends and I'm always trying to make sure that I'm making them feel supported and loved by me, and that I'm always there for them because that's kind of what I want out of a friend as well. And so when I would find out that I upset her, I would immediately try to rectify the situation the best way I can and like reassure her that I think she's amazing. Um even if it's something like it's my tone and I'm like, oh no, I'm not, and I would explain because I have, my tone gets weird sometimes. Um, and so like I have no problem like if someone tells me I upset them or I hurt their feelings, like either apologizing or if there isn't anything to apologize for, like just trying to reassure them like how I really feel about them and help them like navigate those emotions. I have no problem doing that because I've had friends tell me, and I know my issues. I don't have the best tone, you know? And sometimes I bring stuff up about old conversations without telling you that it's from an old conversation, and people get confused. Um, anyway, so I felt some type of way, and at the same time that I was gonna say something, a lot of craziness happened at the same time. So my power went out for like 15 hours. And it wasn't just the electricity that went out. It was the everything went out. Like there was a huge storm that knocked out cell phone towers, it knocked out power lines, everything. And so I had no cell phone data and I had no electricity. So my phone was just a brick. Well, I could play crosswords on it, but other than that, it wasn't, I just got to sit there. And it was hot. It's hot as hell in the South in the summer. And so I wasn't sleeping. And then on top of that, like I told you guys in the other video, like I was having trauma flashbacks, I was having nightmares. So I was running on very, very little sleep, which is not normal for me. I take medication to put me to sleep because if my sleep drops, my mental health drops real fast. And so all of that happened at the same time to where I could like barely talk. And then it was like right when the um cell phone service came back, she called me and she heard me on the phone sounding sick. And she was like, "What's going on with you?" And I was like, to her, "I'm really not okay right now. I haven't slept in who knows how long. I can't really talk and form sentences. Like I was completely out of it." And she was like, "What's going on?" I was like, I have way too much. I can't words, and that's kind of like the space that I was in. And I couldn't talk. I couldn't address the issue that I had or the feelings that I had, and I couldn't even talk about what was going on at the moment. I was too out of it. And so once I was able to get some sleep, I went to therapy the next day. And I explained what had been going on and my feelings. And then I was like, "Oh, but she called me. So it's whatever. I have nothing to be upset about anymore. It's fine." And my therapist is like, "Okay, but you can still address the fact that you guys didn't talk for a week and that made you feel some type of way, especially considering y'all was talking like every day, all day long. And then you didn't hear anything and there was no response to your messages." And I was like, "I mean, yeah, but then she called me, so like it's okay now, right? I don't have anything to be upset right now." And she was like, "You can still talk about how you felt in that moment though, and tell her you should tell your feelings to your best friend." And I was like, "Should I? Because I'm kind of scared. Like, what if she doesn't like that I did that? Because people in the past don't like it when I do that." Um, and she was like, "You have to give her a chance, though. You can't just assume that she's not going to be receptive to you sharing your feelings." I was like, "Okay, how do I say this? Because I'm too out of it still to talk." And so she was like, "I'm going to send a text." I said, "Okay." I'm a better texter than anything. I know some of you might not get it. You might be like, "What? You can't read your tone in text." I am a better texter. I can think more clearly when I'm texting. Like, yeah, I noticed that when I script a video, I sound crazy because I don't do well with scripts. But if I have something that I really, really want to say, and then I try to get up here and say it without a script or something, I'm not going to say what I mean to say. Like, I can get thrown off really quickly because I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. So, so we write this message. And the message is a really good message, I would say. I was looking at my therapist like, "Damn, you good." And it was first thing we had to do was we had to get to the root of my emotions cuz I didn't really know what I was feeling. Like I knew I was upset, I didn't know why. I didn't know what was under that, you know. And so we got to the root of it and, feeling like the drop off in communication was kind of triggering some um abandonment feelings. Like it just felt like I was kind of like, suddenly I'm not a priority anymore. I'm going through all of this and I need you. Why aren't you talking to me? Like I kind of went through that cycle and then getting angry then and being like, "What are you doing over there that's so important that you don't want to talk to your best friend anymore?" Like I ran the gambit of emotions, but it was mostly like, feeling lonely, feeling alone, feeling sad, all the stuff that I described in the other video were the emotions that I was feeling. And so she was like, when you're talking to her, you need to address your sadness and your hurt, not your anger, not your, "I bet you was doing this or talking and all that stuff." Just talk about the fact that you feel hurt and you feel sad and you miss them and not talking. This is how you feel. I was like, okay. So he wrote this message basically, and it was a very loving and respectful message, but it was also kind of a message of like, because I want us to have a healthy friendship and I want us to be able to be open with each other, I have to tell you that when we didn't talk for that period of time, it really hurt me and I missed you because, you know, I need you and I want to be there for you too if something's going on, but I want us to be there for each other, like, and I'm going through so much and I just want to have you here with me. So it was like that. It was very vulnerable. It was really hard for me to write. It was very vulnerable. It was very emotional. And it was literally just like, "Hey, I feel hurt." um and The response was wild. Like, the response was crazy, because it starts off like, what are you even talking about, And then it's like me having going to like, okay, so here's the details. Like this week, this da, 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 this day, then this day, and this day, or whatever. And then right before this, we did try to set up a time to talk because I was still trying to talk to them, and they said they were gonna call me between a specific time frame, and they didn't call me until 6 hours after that specific time frame. And I sat there staring at my phone throughout that whole specific time frame, hoping they would call me so that we could talk about the issue. And they didn't call me until 6 p.m. And so then I was mad again because I was like, why you called me 6 hours after you said you was gonna call me? I sat there staring at my phone like an idiot. I was angry again, and I was ready to be angry and say angry things. And I stopped myself. I said, back up, Minu. Okay. We're recognizing that we're angry again and that this is not the right time to have a conversation. You cannot have a conversation with them while you're angry. It's not going to be received well, and you're not going to feel good about yourself afterwards. So I told them that I would have to talk to him another time. Like I just couldn't talk at that moment. So there was a time, like, and I'm being fair, there was a time when they did call me. It was just the fact that it was 6 hours after the time we agreed to talk that I was upset again. So we couldn't talk in that moment. I was upset. And I could not address that issue while being in that state of mind, in that state of emotion again. So that was right before I sent the text message. So I sent them a text message telling about what happened and how I felt, and I told them all the details about it was this specific week. We went from this to this. It hurt me. We both have traumas around this type of thing, and this is just how I felt as a result of it. And again, I care about you, I value our friendship, and I just feel like this is something that I have to say in order for us to like, you know, be able to be vulnerable and open with each other. Like I have to do this. I have to say that I have these feelings, um, for the good of the relationship. But yeah, that kicks off 2 weeks basically of text messages and failed phone calls. Well, ignored phone calls because the response was basically it starts off being like, I don't understand, what are you talking about? Like, I called you, earlier, and you didn't want to talk. So actually you're the one who I've been reaching out to you, and you won't talk to me. So I don't understand what it is that you are trying to be mad at me for. And I explained the situation again, and I'm like, I'm not talking about that time. Like, I'm talking about this specific time frame, this week. This is how I felt in that moment. And I used the words in that moment like multiple times, and it was not being received. And it was taken as this is the way she was responding to me. She was responding to me as if I messaged her and said, "You're a bad friend, you're a bad person, you don't talk to me, you've abandoned me, you never call, you never reach out, and you're a terrible friend, and I'm mad at you." That's what she was responding to. I did not say any of that. You know, she, and so her responses were immediately defensive. But she strawmanned me. She created a different version of me to argue with. She argued with that person and not with me because there really wasn't anything to argue with. But she was arguing with me as if I said, "You're a terrible person, you're a terrible friend, and you need to apologize to me for your terrible actions, and you are wrong. You have done wrong, and you are wrong." That's what she was arguing with in these messages. But I didn't say any of that. And I even reiterated, like, no, I'm not attacking you. Like, I literally said that I value our friendship and I care about you. And I acknowledge the fact that we've done so much for each other, over the past few months, and we're so close. Like, I said all of these things. why are you arguing with me? Like, what? I don't understand. And she's like, I'm not going to apologize because there's nothing to apologize for. I'm like, I didn't ask you for an apology. This isn't a thing really to apologize for, because she could have just been like, oh man, it's not that I wanted to do that, but this thing came up and I just got so engrossed in that, and I couldn't talk to you and stuff like that. Like, she could have said that, and I've been like, I appreciate you sharing that with me. But like, I mean, I guess she could have said something like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. And, in the future, I'll keep that in mind. And maybe if I have to go dark for a long period of time, I'll message you and let you know that I can't talk for that time. Like, I guess she could have said something like that. But there really is no specific way I was expecting her to respond. I just needed her to respond in a way that was kind of compassionate and a little understanding. And that would have let me know that I could open up further and that we could have had a deeper conversation. And I would have felt safe opening up further and having a deeper conversation. But I didn't get to that point. And my therapist, too, my therapist literally, like, some of the stuff that I was going to write, she was like, let's not pour your whole heart out right now, because we need to see how she's going to respond to this. If she responds good, you guys can go further. If she responds poorly, I don't want you to have poured your whole heart out and then this is what happens, because it's not going to feel good for you. It was really important to me to say how I felt, and then to have those feelings be received and validated. Just like there's been times when she's been upset with me, but I didn't actually do anything wrong. It's more that I caused her to feel a certain way inadvertently. And I listen to her and I validate her feelings and I reassure her you know, I've never like tried to argue about what, but did I actually say that though? Like, I've never done anything like that. I'm sorry. You just gonna get the bra. The bra don't want to hide. I'm sorry. Um, but like, I've never like tried to argue about the facts and details, but she was like demanding, like, I need an exact fact. I need the exact dates. I need records. Like, I need all of this to show me, because I don't know what you're talking about. And actually, it's you who are doing this. It's not me. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not apologizing for nothing. All of this stuff. And I was just like, why are you responding this way? Because I'm pretty sure what I wrote, when my therapist read it over before I sent it, that I ain't say none of this. And then I responded once more, still being vulnerable and explaining, this is why this thing hurt me in particular. Because I was like, maybe you're a little confused about why exactly I'm upset. So I respond, I said, this is why this hurts me. These are my feelings. This is how I feel. And this is how I feel when this type of thing happens. That's why I'm hurt. And her response did not change. It was still defensive, you know, and she was not trying to hear anything that I was saying. And as I would explain it and explain it, and she'd be like, now tell me exactly why and what it is that I did. You need to clarify. You need to say exactly what it is that happened and exactly what it is that I did and exactly what it is that you're upset about. And then I would tell her, and then she would just repeat herself and be like, no, you need to tell me what it is. Tell me what it is that I did. And I was just like, but I just wrote you like a long paragraph explaining exactly what happened and why I felt that way. And it's not even like a pointing a finger thing. Like, I didn't even say anything like you did this or you did that. It was just more of like, this situation happened and this is how I felt about it. There really wasn't, I mean, like, obviously, like, it was in a, like, I came at it from the perspective that obviously she didn't mean for this to happen, or she didn't mean for this to be the response, or she didn't mean for me to feel this way, or something came up that she just had to go and handle that situation and she couldn't talk to me about it, which I would have still felt like if something happened that you could have, because we talked about everything all the time. But even then, I was expecting more of that, or, I didn't mean to make you feel this way. It's just, this is what happened. But now that I know that this is how you feel when this happens, you know, I like keep that in mind in the future, something like that. I don't know. There wasn't any specific phrasing that I was expecting um in response. I just wanted it to be something compassionate or accepting, you know what I mean? So that I would have felt like, okay, it is good to open up about your feelings with your friends. Cause I don't do that a lot in this relationship. I was always too scared to. And now I'm trying to, and this is the response that I get. And it went on for days. And eventually she sends me, and then I tell her too, like, I reiterate myself. She's like, "Can you clarify exactly what it was?" Again, and I'm like, I reiterated myself. And I said, "But now I'm also upset that you're responding to me this way. Cause like, I'm just being vulnerable and sharing my feelings. And like, the way you're responding upsets me. Like, why are you talking like this?" Like, and so I shared that too. And then she's she sends me a voice message, and the voice message is very blunted. And I say that because it's not like it was an aggressive voice message. It was not yelling or nothing like that, but it was very blunted, which is not how she usually speaks. She usually speaks in a much more either happy go lucky tone or compassionate tone, but it was very blunted. And it was basically trying to shut me down and to make it seem like I was arguing over nothing and that this was a non issue, that I was trying to make something out of nothing. I was trying to make an issue where there was no issue. There was nothing for her to apologize for. So she's not going to apologize because she didn't do anything wrong. Um, and all of that stuff, and basically just trying to tell me to drop the whole thing and forget about it and move forward. And my therapist, I played it while I was in therapy because I knew that I could not listen to it by myself. Like I played it while I was in therapy. Um, and my therapist was like, and she was like, and I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this message, but I don't feel good about this message. And my therapist was like, well, you should be pissed because her whole tone towards you, like that's not it's not a way she's ever spoken to you before. And I was like, yeah, I don't like this. But I was like, I was too scared to even fully say like how I actually felt about it, but I just knew I was uncomfortable. And she had me like write out a bunch of things that I felt, and I didn't get a chance to really send any of this because of how fast everything escalated. But and I also too, like right before that message, I'm sorry. Again, I can't never be in order. I had basically said, in the thing I was like, well, I'm also upset about how you're speaking to me right now. But I also said, like, I think we both need to just like take a break to give us like, because I just assumed I didn't even know what was going on. Now she knew everything that was going on with me and dates and everything. I didn't know if something had happened at that point because she didn't tell me anything. And so I just assumed like, hey, maybe something's going on that's like stressing you out. And maybe like that's where this is coming from. And maybe we should just like, take some time to get through whatever it is the both of us are going through. Because again, I was moving like in a few days, um, and get through whatever else we're going through. And then maybe like when we're both under a lot less stress, we can come back and we can, address the issue. And that was when she sent the message. And basically, I think, and she said all stuff that she said. And I think she also said something like, I don't need time to talk about this. You the one that needs time to process things. And so I'm like, okay, so then I'm the one that needs time to process things, but I still need time because I got so much going on. I could not put the emotional energy into trying to hash this out. And I was a few days away from moving. I just couldn't. You know what I mean? Um, And so I didn't say anything after that. I was too busy trying to like write out what my response was going to be, write out how I felt about the message and try to like process the emotions because I wasn't sure what I was feeling. So I tried to like process the emotions of how I felt about that response and then like create a response and all of that stuff at the same time that I was trying to pack up my entire life and move to a whole new place that was 6 hours away. Um, but I just had to like work it out because like I was like again like you guys know from another video, I was struggling so bad with the trauma flashbacks with not sleeping with starting a new job and then trying to pack my whole life and be ready for the move and everything like that. It was just so much on me right now. I was just like, I need time. I need a minute. Maybe you needed a minute and you just didn't communicate to me that you needed a minute, but I'm communicating to you now that I need some time because there's too much going on. Um